Hello and welcome to these Blender tips, where I'm going to be showing you how I made this simple sequence. Hang around till the end if you'd like a bunch of free add-ons, which I found really helpful. Let's begin. Using the Extra Objects add-on, I added a wall factory. I used a spiral curve for the balustrade and a simple deform for the tower. I used an array modifier on a plane for the roof and used similar techniques to model the torch. I modelled a robotic arm and then parented the parts together. For the hydraulics, I tracked the cylinders and used empties to avoid any glitching. I mirrored the pincer and chose the base geometry as its centre. To pick up the stone, I added a child of constraint and set the target and influence. To release it, I set a keyframe and then applied the visual transforms before turning off the influence. I added bones for my skeleton, taking extra care around the hands. I extruded a hand bone up and then used Alt-P to remove its parent, and then Ctrl-R to rotate it. I added an IK constraint and then used Ctrl-P to parent it to my chest bone. I did the same for the feet. I added another bone in front of the knee and set it to control the leg rotation. I did the same for the elbows. I disabled deform on each of my control bones and then symmetricalized. But when I went to apply the weights, I got an error. I could parent it together manually, but I wasn't even able to mirror the weight painting. There was clearly something wrong with the mesh. I tried making a block monster. I then tried remeshing and applying visual transforms. This worked, and although hideous, I thought it would be fun to animate nonetheless. I modelled then rigged a jellyfish. I used bendy bones and a particle effect for the tentacles. For the animation, I used a modifier to simulate floating. I couldn't find this reference, but I wanted the big jellyfish to swim away first, leaving the small chubby one to keep up. For the abomination, I knew that the weird geometry would make its movements uncanny, so I thought I'd lean into this. I thought it could move like something out of Pan's Labyrinth. Both the fawn and the monster twitch their heads and wiggle their fingers, with slow movements punctuated by sudden jerks. I also tried to show the weight of the stone as it exchanged hands. Less successfully, I tried to make the jellyfish animation loop. I tried to find the moment in the modifier where the animation looped and then export that out. It took a good night's sleep to realise I just needed to place keyframes that ended and began in the same position. For the jellyfish, I mixed a transparent emissive material with a noise texture. I then animated the rotation to make this wobble effect. For the abomination, there was this strange eyebrow thing left after I merged the meshes, and I kinda liked it, so I kept it, merging it with an emissive material. I used a few free plugins for the finishing touches. I used Sanctus Material Library for the stone material. I also added some decals for the robot, which I combined with my own. I used Dynamic Skies combined with some point lights for the lighting. I then used BioReader to add some grass. I wanted to use Fire and Flames FX, but it only works in EVEE. As this is the first animation I'm going to be rendering from Blender, I thought I'd try both EVEE and Cycles to compare the results. Right, that's it for this one, folks. I go a bit more in depth on a lot of this stuff on my channel, so if you'd like to find out more, then subscribe. If not, we're no longer friends, but have a fantastic day anyway.